to a Fat Girls Commentary. Cultural deep dive you didn't know you needed. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something the fashion industry loves to pretend it's fixed.
Plus size fashion.
If you ask any major brand, they're already solved it. After all, they didn't just
Post a size 14
model last month. Case closed, right?
Absolutely not.
What we're dealing with is an illusion. The industry has mastered the art of half measure. The runway and magazine covers showcase ultra-thin bodies as the pinnacle of fashion aspiration. Designers rarely featured plus-size models, and when they did, these models were exceptions rather than the rule. It reinforced the cultural message that fashion was not for everyone, only for the thin, the tall, the young, and the conventionally beautiful. As the internet and social media emerged in the 2000s and 2010s, a new landscape opened. Grassroots activism, body positivity. I'm gonna fight you, Aubrey. I really am.
Let's be nice.
Grassroots activism, body positivity influencers, and independent plus-size brands began to gain traction. Yet, despite these advances, the legacy of exclusion was deeply ingrained. Mainstream brands were slow to adapt, often adopting a wait-and-see approach or dipping their toes into plus-size markets without committing fully. The inertia of decades of exclusion meant that size inclusivity required not just a change in mindset, but an overhaul of systems, patterns, manufacturing, marketing, and corporate culture. One crucial aspect of this historical context is how fatness itself has been pathologized. I don't like that. Pathologized.
It's
okay,
pathologized. I googled it.
Pathologized. One crucial aspect. Am I too close?
Oh my!
One crucial aspect of this historical context is how fatness itself has been pathologized and medicalized, influencing how the fashion industry approaches plus-size design. Fatness has long been framed as a health risk, a moral failing, or rather an aesthetic problem. But it's a natural variation of human bodies. This has affected the industry's willingness to invest in plus-size fashion, treating it as a temporary trend or a problem to be managed rather than an opportunity to embrace diversity.
Ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
In many ways, the history of plus-size fashion reflects broader social attitudes towards fatness. Attitudes...
So sorry, I didn't mean to.
Attitudes rooted in discrimination, fear, and control. This history has created structural barriers that persist today. For example, the design process for plus-size clothing often involves grading up patterns from smaller sizes rather than creating shapes and cuts that reflect the actual proportions and needs of larger bodies. This leads to ill-fitting garments that don't flatter or function well. Furthermore, many fashion education programs historically have not included training on plus-size design, leaving a gap in expertise. Production lines may also lack diversity in fit models. People hired to test how clothing fits in different sizes, which results in designs that don't translate well to plus sizes. This structural neglect means that even when plus-size clothing is offered, it often feels like an afterthought. Plus-size consumers frequently report frustration with poor fit, limited style options, and a lack of innovation compared to straight sizes. Another legacy of this history is the geographic and socioeconomic disparities in access to plus-size fashion. Many plus-size offerings are concentrated in certain markets or price points, leaving large Luxury brands rarely carry sizes above a certain threshold, and mid-tier brands often only stock a small selection of plus sizes. Discount and fast fashion brands may offer plus sizes, but the quality is typically low and the style is limited. This creates an uneven playing field where plus-size consumers must navigate a fragmented market that doesn't serve them well. The media and advertising landscape also reflect this history. Until very recently, plus-size bodies were almost invisible in high fashion editorials,
Clock it.
runway shows, and advertisements. When included, they were often exoticized, sexualized, or caricatured rather than normalized. This continues to affect cultural perceptions and consumer expectations. The narrative of the ideal body in fashion remains overwhelmingly slim, tall, and able-bodied, a standard that excludes the majority of people. Despite these challenges, there have been moments of breakthrough. The rise of plus-size models like Ashley Graham and Paloma Elsesser, the success of brands like Universal Standard and Good American, and increasing conversations around size inclusivity are signs of progress. However, these breakthroughs remain exceptions rather than the rule, and the structural issues laid down over decades still limit the scale and scope of change. Understanding this history is essential because it shows that the problems we see today are not accidental or inevitable. They are the result of choices made by the industry over time. It also underscores the fact that true change requires more than surface-level inclusion or marketing campaigns. It requires confronting deeply rooted biases, investing in education and design innovation, and rethinking how fashion serves diverse bodies. The illusion of progress in plus-size fashion is not just about what brands say or show, it's about what they build behind the scenes and how they allocate resources. Only by reckoning with this history can we begin to dismantle the barriers and create an industry that truly reflects the diversity. I sound so country.
I sound so country.
Hold up now. It's not just a matter of style, it's a matter of justice. The fragmentation of the plus-size market further complicates matters. Plus size is not a monolith. It encompasses a broad spectrum of body shapes, sizes, and style preferences. Some brands attempt to address this by offering limited size ranges or a handful of styles, but this often results in poor fit and limited appeal. For example, many brands cap their plus size range at 3X or 4X, leaving out many consumers who fall outside those sizes. Additionally, the focus often remains on certain body shapes that conform to cultural beauty standards, like the hourglass figure or the pear figure, while excluding others with different proportions. This selective inclusion creates barriers within the plus-size community itself. Furthermore, the plus-size market is often segmented by price point, creating disparities in accessibility. Luxury brands may offer extended sizes, but at price points inaccessible to many consumers. Fast fashion brands might offer affordable plus sizes, but compromise heavily on quality and durability, and I'm looking at you, Fashion Nova. Mid-range brands often struggle to strike a balance between price, quality, and size inclusivity. This segmentation leaves many consumers underserved, forcing them to settle for either poor fit or prohibitive prices. Another economic factor is the distribution and retail infrastructure. Many brick-and-mortar stores allocate minimal Another economic factor is the distribution. Oh my God.
I'm gonna kill myself.
Another economic factor is the distribution and retail infrastructure. Many brick-and-mortar stores allocate minimal floor space for plus-size clothing, or they segregate these items to specific sections that just feel disconnected from mainstream fashion. Online shopping helps mitigate this to some extent, but it presents its own challenges, including
Consistent sizing,
lack of
tactile experience,
and difficulties in assessing fit. Returns and exchanges can also be a barrier for plus-size shoppers, as ill-fitting clothing is unfortunately common.
regardless of your size.
Marketing strategies also contribute to the... How long is this? Marketing strategies also contribute to the economic underinvestment. Plus-size campaigns are often treated as temporary marketing pushes rather than long-term brand commitments. This limits brand visibility and consumer trust. Plus-size models and influencers are often booked for seasonal campaigns, but they rarely become brand ambassadors or central faces of the company. The lack of consistent representation weakens consumer brand.
Girl,
It was bothering me.
I thought she was a...
Schizophrenic.
So what is she doing?
The lack of consistent representation weakens consumer brand relationships and reduces the incentive for sustained investment. In addition, data collection and consumer insights specific to plus-size customers are often insufficient. Brands may not have detailed data on purchasing patterns, preferences, and unmet needs within the plus size demographic. Without this intelligence, product development and marketing strategies can just feel
Scattershot.
reactive or misaligned with customers' expectations. Despite these challenges, some brands are bucking the trend and proving that investing in plus size fashion can be both ethically responsible and commercially successful. So, as we close out this episode, I want to encourage you to keep questioning, keep pushing, and keep showing up as your full, authentic self. Don't settle for crumbs or tokenism. Demand visibility that respects your complexity. Support brands and creators who are genuinely invested in size inclusivity. Share your stories and your style. Build communities that celebrate all bodies, because change isn't just going to come from the top. It comes from all of us, together. Thank you for joining me on this first episode of
Fat Girls Commentary.
If this resonated with you, please subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And let me know in the comments or on social what your experiences have been with plus size fashion. What frustrates you the most? What gives you the hope?
That you need.
What do you want to see next? I want this to be a space for honest, thoughtful conversations about fatness, fashion, and culture. And your voice is a crucial part of that. Until next time, take care of yourself. Keep demanding better, and remember, you are not an afterthought. You are the main story. Wow.